All right, so we are live now.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome, and I welcome all of you to MS Inspire. I hope you all are doing well. So, let me introduce myself before we begin. So, I am Rohit Yadav, a Beta Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador from India. So, I am a part of this program since January 2020, and I really love this community. So, well, what we are here for today, we have planned a new learning series together, and we will be covering various bits of Power Platform in weekly sessions. So today is our very first session that focuses on Power Automate. I am your host for today, and I will also be moderating the chat here. So I am joined today by two of our very special guests. Our first speaker is a Beta Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador from Malaysia, and second guest is a Power Platform Evangelist from Singapore. So let me introduce you to our first guest, who is here to share your knowledge, who is here to share her knowledge with us. So our first speaker is Racheal Chek, and she is a Beta Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador who is pursuing her Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics, and she is passionate for technology. She joined the ambassadors community here in January 2021, and she has very quickly achieved the beta milestone. She is the student affairs lead in Institution Engineers Malaysia student section in her community. She is exploring and learning technologies like Power Platform to make her life easier as a student, empowering everyone to manage her events, projects, and schoolwork, and also impacting her communities with the same set of tools. I now invite you, Rachel, to please share the insights on Power Automate through all the participants present in the live stream.
Okay, hi everyone, and thanks Rohit for introducing me. And today I will be presenting on Introduction to Microsoft Power Automate. So let me share my screen. Okay, without further ado, let me introduce myself. I'm Beta Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador and study electronics engineering, and I love Sudoku and painting. So this is the agenda session. We are going to kickstart with what is Power Automate and what are the key elements in Power Automate. Then we are going to a demo session which will create the flows from blank and template. Then we will do an overview of Power Automate and close out with a Q&A session. So maybe some of you have heard of Power Automate or just a beginning of Power Automate. Let me explain to you what is Power Automate. Microsoft Power Automate is a web-based application that has more than 300 of connectors, and the connectors are still being developed, and these numbers of connectors will increase in the future. And we need the connectors to create the workflow process to take over those tasks that we need to do it repeatedly. Next. So what is the benefits of, using Power Automate? Personally, for me, I've been using Power Automate to organize my event, and this has increased my productivity in managing my events, especially there are lots of participants who is filling up the form that requires a lot of time to go and follow up with the participants. Then by using Power Automate, we can save a lot of time, and this will automatically lead to a higher productivity and efficiency in our life. So what are the key elements of Power Automate? The first one will be flow. So what is flow? From the figure here, you can see flow is like a process that carry out one step by one step. So in flow, we will need two things. First will be a trigger. After a trigger, we will need an action. If the flow is without either one of it, it cannot be considered as a flow. Then we are going to connectors. As I mentioned just now, there are more than hundreds of connectors. So what are connectors? Connectors are the connections of applications with Power Platform. Power Platform like Power Automate, Power BI, and Power Apps. We need to use the connectors to carry out our flow. So the connectors are not only from Microsoft itself, as you can see from this figure, there are also other applications like Google, Twitter, and etc. So there are three types of flows. The first one will be the cloud flows. And inside these cloud flows, they are the first one, scheduled cloud flows. The second one will be an automated cloud flows. The third one will be an instant cloud flows. So when we look at this, or when we heard of this scheduled cloud flows, what does it mean? Like it is, I'm trying to imply that it is saying that we need to set a time for it, for the cloud flows to carry out on that specific time. While for automated, as long as there is something trigger the flow, it will automatically create and carry out that flow by its own. While for instant, we need to have a click of the button in our apps of Power Automate in our mobile phone to carry out that flow. So this is the first type of flow. The second type of the flow is the desktop flow, which we are able to automate our flow on our desktop environment. And the good news here is in March 2021, which is a recently announcement from Microsoft, now Power Automate has been available for everyone, free to use for Power Automate Desktop. So anyone, as long as is a Windows user, they are free to download the apps in their desktop. And the third one is a business process flows, which will guide user through a multi-step process. And among these three types of cloud flows, the most easier one will be, personally, I think will be the cloud flow. So there are how many ways to start your flow. First, it will be starting from a blank. Second, we are going to start from a template. Or third, we are going to start from a connector. And there are lots of industries that benefit from Power Automate, like banking, retail, manufacturing, healthcare, and also insurance. And the link that I provided here is Illuminati Bank that have used Power Automate that save 15 hours a month. Imagine that you have saved quite a lot of time a month, and this will improve the company's performance. So what we can do with Power Automate as a student or as someone that is keen on using Power Automate. Let us go to a demo session that we are going to start creating our flows from blank. So first you will need to go to your flow, click on Power Automate, and you will be directed to your account, and you will need to sign in if you haven't signed in, and please make sure you have signed in using your Microsoft account. So here is the home page of Power Automate. So like what I say, first we are going to create a flow from blank. And before this session, I have tried to do it, and let me show you what I've done. So this is the one that I created from blank. And this is the one you are also going to do so, which is create a flow that can be carried out to run the flow for the demo. And what is the benefit of using this flow? This flow, the benefit is when there is someone that fill up the form in your event, this flow will automatically send the email to the participants. So let me show you how we are going to do this. First, we are going to this create, and we are going to go to automated cloud flow. And our trigger is using Microsoft Forms. And let's name this flow name by demos event form. Then we click on create. And I have created the form, and this is the form. So for example, you are carrying out an event online, which there are lots of participants is going to fill out the form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you see what is Power Automate doing. Let's type a name, say Racheal, and my email address. Okay. So this is the form ID which we need to do it, because form ID is like a name tag for that particular form. So for this flow, first we are going to use a trigger from Microsoft Form. So when a new response is submitted, we are going to pick this form, which is Demo Power Platforms event. Then, as I mentioned just now, if a flow without something to trigger, we cannot carry out the flow. So this is the trigger. Then we should add a new step. So we want those who have filled up the form to be receiving the email that are generated from this Power Platform. So we are going to click on this email, click on this one, which is the actions after the response is submitted. We are going to send an email notification. And you can see there are the asterisk red color here, which is compulsory to fill up. Let's say like if you forget to fill in anything here, there will be errors here that showing in the flow checker. So as you can see, there is this to is required, subject is required, body is required. And this will remind us to do by filling up this. So what we need to do is we need to get the email address. But before doing that, we still have missing one step, which is very fundamental, because without this step, we are unable to send the email generated from this flow. So what we need is we need to get the response details in the Microsoft form. And you can see there's this unique identifier of the form. We will need to get it, which is the name of the form that I mentioned just now, which is the Demo Power Platforms event. And the response ID is this. If you have really no idea what to put, you can look at the statements below here, as here mentioned, unique identifier of the response, used with get response details. So it is matching our title of this trigger here. Then we click on this one. Only that we are able to find our dynamic contents, which consists of email address, responder's email, your name, and submission time. So our purpose of doing this flow is to send the participants email to them to inform them when is the event is going to carry out. So we are going to click on this email address, and the subject will be registration fully for the, and the body you can type anything, like let's say your registration of the event is full. Please stay tuned in our social media. And let's see what happened, and click save. So after we have created the flow, what we are going to do is we will need to test it. So you can see there is a save button here, flow checker, and there are no errors or warnings has been shown here. We can proceed to the test step, which we will create and manually. So for us to make sure that this flow will be successfully run, we are going to create this. I'm going to create this. Oops. Okay, let me refresh. Okay, there is some problem here. Okay, let me fill up the form again. Okay. There is a technical issues here. Let me rectify it. So let me test again. Okay, the form has been submitted. So what we are going to do is we are going to check the email that should be received inside my inbox. So I'm going to my Gmail. And yes, you can see that here I have received the email from Power Automate. Mentioned here that I have registered the Power Platform. So this flow has been created successfully. So for those of you who is going to run an event online, which you will receive a lot of participants fill up the form. So you're not going to waste time to send the email one by one, because that will occupy you a lot of time. So by creating this flow, the time of sending the email one by one will be saved a lot. Okay, next we are going to create a flow from a template, and we are going to choose a template. Let's say it's saving attachments into our OneDrive. So we are going to type Office 365, and we are going to click on this one, Save Office 365 Email Attachment to specify OneDrive for Business folder. This will be very useful, especially sometimes for me, I have misdeleted something in my email. So once the email is gone, I can't find the attachments in the email. And this flow will help us to reduce that problem, because any email attachments from the email, it will automatically save the attachments in our OneDrive. So you just click on this and make sure you have already signed in your account and a valid connection for it, and click on continue. So you can see when we have received an email, we are going to have these two conditions. If yes, the attachment will be saved to one folder in our OneDrive. And I want to explain here is that the folder we need to choose is inbox, because that is the function of this flow. We need to save the email attachments from the incoming email. So for this, the condition, if yes, there is an email, we have received an email, we are going to select an output from previous steps, which is an attachments from the email. And you can see if we should enter something into this folder path. You are free to choose any folder, but for today's demo session, I'm going to click on this folder button and click on my folder here, which is demo for Explore Power Platform. This will be the folder that any attachments in the email will be saved inside this folder. So this is the file name, which is the attachment names that I'm not going to remove it, and also the file content. So these attachments can be any types of files like PDF, pictures files, and etc. So for this, if there is no email received, we are not going to do anything. Therefore, we are going to remove this. We are going to delete this action. And we are going to see what happened. And click on Save. And we are going to test it. So let's say we do it manually, send a new email in my inbox to trigger it. And I'm going to send something from my email. Let's say my email is this, my Ambassador's account, and say test demo Power Automate. And I'm going to send something, which I'm going to attach from here, demo documents. And this file I'm going to send to my Ambassador's account and see whether this flow can be carried out successfully or not. So I have clicked on send, and I've made sure that I've sent the email to my Ambassador's account, and let's see what happened to this. So I've mentioned just now, any attachments that I have saved in that I have received from my inbox will be saved into this folder. Okay, let us refresh this. You can see this flow is successful because I have the flow have helped me automatically save the attachment from the email I sent to my ambassador account. Okay, see, you can see that your flow ran successfully. Okay, then we go back to the presentation. So we have created our flows from blank and also from a template. Okay, the few key takeaways is Microsoft Power Automate is a web-based service and there are hundreds of connectors that we need to connect to different data resources. And also Power Automate, we can carry out it the flow without using any code. As long as we know the process, we have the trigger and also the action, then the flow will be carried out successfully. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Hey, Chek, can I ask a question about the data flow?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. What's the difference between a desktop application from Power Automate with as compared to the streaming application, the web-based application? Because I heard that there's a now
Mm.
Windows 10 is gonna get the Power Automate by default.
Okay. Let me repeat the question in case I misunderstand your questions. So you are saying that what is the difference of Power Automate Desktop and also Power Automate Online? Is it what
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
say?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, the difference between Power Automate Desktop and Power Automate Online is the Power Automate Online will be running the flow online, while for the Power Automate Desktop, let me share you this. I've do some research on it. It's like a Power Platform desktop is running the flow of the desktop. Okay. Have I answered your questions?
I know,
Over here.
yeah, I know the
So,
answer. I know the answer, but I'm just trying to get people to understand more about it because that's the new stuff coming across. I know the
Yeah,
answer.
yes.
I
Correct,
know the
correct.
answer. I'm
yeah.
making people making understand more from a people perspective. Yeah.
Mm, thanks for asking.
I
Yes.
I can provide a bit of context here in a bit easier language. So the desktop app is primarily meant for RPA, which stands for Robotic Process Automation. So what do we mean by robotic process automation over here? Is that you can automate your PC to complete certain tasks without you even touching it. So for example, you can run desktop flows that can trigger applications. They can connect to your say Outlook account and they can automatically send emails. They can perform actions on databases. They can even execute batch files and PowerShell scripts. So there's a lot of capabilities over there, and you can use the desktop app to create desktop flows. And this was previously a paid feature, but they made the announcement at build only, and it is completely free now. And it will also come pre-installed on new Windows PCs now.
Windows 10. Rohit, is there so is it something that even if your so-called services are not running, they will still let it happen? The desktop flows?
Sorry.
If your services are not on, for example, your Outlook is not running, so your services of Outlook is also not running, will it still the flow will still work it with them without services being run, or there has to have services running in the background?
Yeah, it needs to have the services running in the background, but it depends on your flow. Basically, if even if say for this example, if the Outlook app is not running, your desktop flow can launch it. So the services will automatically start, and thereafter it can perform the required actions in the Outlook client.
Even in the lock state itself, even in the lock state, in this power save mode state also, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It-
Okay.
So thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing your insights with us. I hope everyone found it useful. And I do not see any questions yet, but you have covered all the basics that students need to get started with the platform. And now I will
Okay,
ask
sure.
our
Thank you,
take
Rohit
the
and
stage.
friends.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, so I need to stay or how?
You can stay. It's up to you.
Okay, sure. Thank you. I'm going to unshare my screen.
Yes, you can for sure. So let me introduce now to the second speaker of the day. Our second speaker is Prince Kher, who is a Power Platform evangelist. He is a VP with ING Bank, leading the Asia Data Analytics and Regulatory Reporting team. He has over 11 years of experience in designing and implementing data and reporting solutions. He is passionate towards helping organizations to make data-driven decisions. Today, he will share with us on how to integrate Power Apps and Power Automate workflows with Power BI. Thank you so much, friends, for joining us. I now invite you to please take over the virtual stage.
Thanks, Rohit, for such a nice intro. Let me start. Hey guys, welcome all. Uh, it's a very good initiative from Rohit's and the team to start integrating people at engineering level. To be honest, if we would have got this exposure, I don't know, would have made a hell of a difference in our experience journeys. But guys, this is something that you guys all should take care of, should take note of, and should start using all these things before even. And to be honest, I have been in a lot of recruitment drives. Now I can see what is the difference between you guys and us, the going through the same discussions and all that stuff, to be honest. So really happy to see people grow and people become ready industry level ready from a standards perspective, and getting things done. Just to give a brief introduction, um, as Rohit mentioned that I'm VP with the ING Bank, heading the data analytics and the regulatory reporting across Asia. We have around about 12 branches in Asia to support across, and we have been using this Power BI solution from the starting itself. I think I started using Power BI in 2015, I guess. I think it was not in a mature state at that time. Also, it was just 2 years old, Power BI. So we started using, and Power BI, being Power BI, is a very strong self-service BI reporting tool that we have onboarded within our whole organization, and it's been a very a nice journey from going from so-called traditional SSIS reports to the Power BI to Power Automates, and then all this Power apps and all that stuff. So, but let me start with the discussion for today would be how we can integrate, how we can leverage Power BI and Power Automate to see what best we can do without using services, or using services, how we can automate more of our flows and reduce the burden on the service, on the Power BI service together, and rest of the things that we can do it with that. uh, Let me start with the presentation. Give me a second. Let me go to a workflow. Where is my? Give me a second, guys. Okay. Let me start. So you have seen this. Everybody knows what is Power BI. Power BI is a business intelligence reporting data visualization tool that helps people with to have a good represent their data story better, in a sense, perform perform a better analysis of data, in a sense, with the Python and R integrations and all this stuff, and pushing it onto the mobiles layout, or the so-called services layout, to the end users to make a good data driven decisions. um, what Power Automate is: a service that helps you create automated workflows between your favorite and synchronize files, get notification, collect data, and more, and all this stuff. So how we can leverage this Power Platform to wonderful tools to make the life of the end user easy, or make it more integrating in a sense where we can have a good understanding of the things that can be done and automated in an automated way. Now going from a it's just a simple analytical. If you see an analytical solution, what are the main components? You have ETL, data extraction, all this stuff. Then you have within Power BI you have a Power Query and Query Editor. Then you have a data modeling there. Then you have a Power BI model there. You have a data storage. You have a data storage Vertipax tabular model out here in Power BI. You have a data retriever. You have a DAX query and M query to retrieve the data and all this stuff. Analyzing tool, you have Python, R, and if there visualizations, results, presentations, then you have visualizations in Power BI. So this is just a simple comparison between analytical solution that should have it and what does a Power BI tool can give you to with it. So it's just a simple stuff. And when you go to the Power BI or Power Automate, so Power Automate is triggered with three stuffs. There's a trigger point and there are tasks that it has to run. So these are the two major stuffs that are part of the whole story for automate. So when we talk about Power BI and Power Automate together, so you only have a one trigger point from Power BI data alert. That is a data alert that you can always trigger a workflow, and then you have an API. That's something we'll discuss in a later slides. We have an API that can trigger from a Power BI to a Power Automate flow. But that's with that then we have a REST API for Power BI and all this stuff to do a lot of different stuff. But REST API we are not going to cover in this session because it's absolutely a different session altogether for a REST API, because there are thousands of tasks that you can do with REST API. And so let's focus on what are the out of the box capabilities from Power BI and the Power Automate together. And then you have the task that includes are add rows to the data set, refresh your data sets, download the reports, download the paginated reports. For now, the subscriptions have the new Power BI subscription can have your attachments of Power BI reports with the full reports. But before that, it was not there, so that people were using Power Automate to leverage that task. But for with the new PBI updates, now you can have the whole download of the whole report. That's one. So let's start the session. Let's start with a simple demo. Okay, let's start with a simple refreshed automate flow, and then I'll show you across. So you see this report, correct? So this report has an Excel. Let me see if I got the Excel out there. So for example, now there's some change in the data of this report. How would it refresh the data in if the Excel attached to it? How would, if it gets refreshed, how the data is set should get refreshed from a Power BI perspective, and how users can see the latest data every time around. So you can always so if you see the scheduling of so-called let me see, where is my refresh data set? Yeah. So if you see this report, if you see this data set, what it does, it only has so to refresh the dataset in Power BI, there's a certain schedules that only you can set it up. But when it comes to this Power Automate, you can have your n number of combination of schedulings, because you can have n number of occurrences that you can do it. So if you see, I can change all these occurrences in the power flow. So if you see, I can change the day, hour, seconds, at what level, enter custom value also you can do with all this. So you can trigger the workflow as per your need basis. And to set it up, it's a very simple way of setting it up. Okay, you just need to give your workspace the data set that you're going to use to refresh it. Okay, so this is as simple as this one. So it just says refresh demo, and then it just gets refreshed. Once you trigger the workflow, it will get refreshed. So I'll just show you a test to run to do it. If you run successfully started, so if I see, it got succeeded also within 20 seconds. So if I change any data set out there, it will reflect the report on the report itself directly. That's one way of doing things. But to be honest, it's very difficult to predict at what time you did. If you have a scheduled refreshes of data set, then it's fine. But if someone has to predict at some point of time you have to do it, then it becomes a problem statement out here. How would a user know, okay, user has just changed and user wants to see the refresh data, how you can do it? Then it comes with the APIs. There are a lot of APIs you can give a call and then can refresh the data set. So if you see this one is an API call to a refresh the data set. So for now, okay. Give me a second one because now it got failed. Give me a second. Edit. Let's fix this so you will get to know how I have built it across also. Okay. So if you see this action, so this is the flow URL that you need to push it across to refresh the reset. So let's create a new workflow. Okay, give me a second. Where is this one? Yeah. So let me edit this one. Okay. So okay, fine. We will delete this one. Okay. We will create a. Give me a second, guys. HTTP request. Okay. So once you get this one, you choose this one. So it won't have anything as of now generated. I will delete this one also. Okay. So I'll add a new step. And once I go back on this one, okay, we will see a Power BI data set. Refresh data set. I'll select the so-called my workspace. I'll select the data set. It's a sales refresh report demo. Okay. And then I will save it. I'll save it to come back to see this post URL. I can collect the post URL. Okay, you can always get a if you need another method, you can use the another method of get put whichever you want, and then I can use this method to call this URL. Okay, let me save it. If I now do refresh, so see it's not working now. So this is how quickly you can do this refreshes across, and you're giving power without giving the user an access to the actual data sets. You're actually allowing users to do a refresh of their data set without having a their access to their workspace. So this gives a lot of power to users to do a lot of things. This gives a lot of power to users to do certain tasks. Not even with this, you can do this email send email subscriptions via this API calls. You can do a lot of so-called lot of different tasks from workflow perspective. Okay, so you got a different trigger point with this API call. So this is very critical in understanding how to use these actions within Power BI and how to integrate with this Power Automate stuff. Okay, now let's go to the next part of the database set refresh that is done from this part. Um, okay, now how to add rows to your data sets. How you can build a streaming data set from a Power BI perspective. Uh, okay, so I'll just show you a small demo for that as well. Let me go to this Power BI. Okay, so you see all these data sets. Okay, let me go to my workspace. Okay, um, okay, I need to create a new streaming. Now I'm going to give you a demo about a data set, how you can create a streaming data set with the help of a Power Automate in Power BI. So we will create a streaming data set. Okay, now we are going to use by API call. Okay, we're going to go API call. What is the data set name? I'll say ms underscore India underscore demo. Okay, so what values you're gonna get it? We're gonna get it the latitude, that is a number. We're gonna get a longitude. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get a data set that looks like this one. This is an API call of a space station positions within the from a space organization from ISS. It's a normal API that they have it. It just gives you latitude, longitude, and the message and the time period, timestamp. Okay, so how are we going to use this to create a data set in within the Power BI? Okay, so this is latitude, longitude is also a number, then it's a date time. I'm going to put a date time, and then the last part is the message. I'm going to put it as a text. Okay, and then I was saying I'm gonna put a historical data. If you have a premium capacity within Power BI, it's gonna let you do. If you don't have a premium capacity, it's gonna let you make only I think 200,000 records, and gonna delete the historical data post 200,000 records. But after 200,000 records, it's gonna let you if you have a streaming data, if you have a premium capacity, it lets you do to I think a million rows or something. Okay, so once you have created this data sets, so what was the name? What we kept it as a MS India demo. Okay, so once we created this one. So once it is done, we're gonna go to this flows. We're gonna create a new flow. Okay, so give me a second. Let me show you. I think I have it somewhere here. Rather than creating a new one, I don't want to create a new one every time. Give me a second. Yeah, build streaming data set. Yeah, this one. So if you see this one, so it's a simple flow. You can select your reoccurrence. However, it is done. I was putting it at 2 hours. Okay, let me now show you rather than okay. So what it does, it just calls this API from a get method. So if you see this API, I showed you already the result set of this API. So this shows this API. It You don't have to do anything else. And then I love this so-called automate people who have developed it from a backend. I don't even have to do all these things, so I can generate it from sample the JSON file. So I don't have to get I don't have to manually convert it or convert with tools. I can just copy this data, put it here, and put it as done. So it will automatically generate a sample for it. So it doesn't have to have a data set out there. So it will just go and keep on calling this and getting this into JSON, parsing it to the JSON file and then creating it. And then it's the same way. Add rows to your data set. Okay, I will delete this one and create a new one for everyone. Okay, new step. Add rows. Power BI. Add rows to data set. Workspace. That's my workspace. Data set that we just created. MS India demo. The name of the table. Real-time data. Now it shows, okay, these are the 4 columns that you have selected. Then you can always use Power Automate to get those column values. Latitude. This is longitude. Date time, I don't recognize the date time the way it has written. So what I'll do, I'll get an expression here. I'll say UTC now, so that at least I get the timestamp when it's getting converted. And then I have a message here. I create message and just click a save and just run the flow. So if I run, see, it got succeeded within 30 milliseconds. It got the data. So if I see this one, so on basis of that, we can create the reports as well. So if I show you something from a Power BI, I created a workstation. Where is that report? So if you see this is the one that I've created earlier. So it keeps on logging each and every space station values across, so that you guys can have a view of the whole space station, where how it is moving, where it is moving. So this is how you can. I just did it with this one, but we did it with this with the so-called flows from financial sectors. We did a lot of trade change values out there in the beta set, so that people can understand how the trades values are being changed across over the period of time. We did it with this integrated with this flows of the banks, where we could put a live streaming data to the traders, so that they can do a better dealing in the banking sectors. So these are the things that we did with that stuff. And then the last part, so we already covered. If we see from that perspective, give me a second, let me go back to my presentation. Okay, so we did a build a streaming data set, we did a this one. Okay, okay, now the next part, the last task, that is the subscriptions, how you can do a subscriptions of the data sets of the reports. So if you see here, you can always create a subscription of the report from our Power BI, as long as you're having the same okay. So if you see, you can select what occurrence you want as per your need basis. Then you can, if you see this one, this has the most happening set out there, where you can see which report you want, what format you want. Do you want to include in hidden pages? If you want to put a report filters, you can do dynamic naming. You can put dynamic names out here. If you want to concatenate, you can do those things also, and then you can send an email notification with that attachment, or you can save it to a shared drive. You can save it to a finance drive. You can save it to the user drive itself. So these are the stuffs you guys can do with the power export and all those stuffs. If you see, I would have been getting every day this report. If I show you inbox, every day morning I would have been getting these reports. Yeah, see. So data set refreshed, it gives a report out here. So these are the stuff that I get. So these are the things you guys can do it on everyday basis, subscriptions, and leverage both the tools to make it a more happening experience for the users. Okay, give me a second. Where is my data set? Yeah. So having said that, now the last part. So we did cover all the tasks. Now the last part is the trigger point. How you can make a trigger out of the data alert. And trigger only is only enabled on dashboard. It's not on PBI. There's a on the report files. There's a open-ended query to Power Microsoft Power BI. They're working on it to make it a unified experience across reports as well, not only on dashboards, and cover more of the data sets, more of the visualization, where we can use this data alerts. So I'll show you one that we created for the workspace. And the data trigger is only enabled for the your own workspace or the premium workspaces. So if I see there, my workspace, so this is the alert. So for example, I set this alert on this one. Okay, wait a second, where I created the alert. Okay, so if you see, I already have alert on the data to source. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new one, active. Okay, title demo underscore number, and it only works when you refresh the data. It doesn't work on the static data. Okay, below 10110. So you can see this, and then it's already telling you use Power Automate to trigger additional actions. You in the meantime, I have to save. Okay, continue. So it tells you which are. So I said demo numbers. So I put demo number. New step. Then now sky is my limit. I can do a row deletion. I can do update a script. I can run a SQL script. I can do n number of stories out from here now. So so imagine this, that we can do such a long stuff out here with all these tasks. I can send notification. I can send people. I can put it to Microsoft Teams. I can put a alert to the head office people and all that stuff. So I can do a lot of stuff with all these things. So these are the stories that we can do it across. Okay, so so these are the things that we can do it from a integration between Power BI and a Power Automate perspective. uh, so any queries from you guys, any Q&A?
Yeah, Prince. First of all, I'd like to thank you so much for taking the session. I'm sure these are some great, unique insights that everyone must have got. So, we have one question by Rachel here, that is it possible to carry out this integration using automated flows in Power Automate?
Yeah, yeah, you can. So it depends upon your way of making work things. So for example, you have this API calls, you have this REST APIs, you have all these calls that can help you trigger the flows in a different way and different manners. You can have your automated workflows also to trigger all these things, but the task is very limited if you want to do more tasks from it. So for example, there's a if you see they have tagged it with automate. I'll just give you an example from a flow perspective. If I go to home, leave, it's okay. Okay, if I go to home, I search a template for Power BI. They have made it a very unique experience for all, to be honest. So they are adding Twitter to the Power BI data sets, refresh, and they're doing a lot of different stories altogether. So if you see, there are hundreds of flows out here. With this automate flow, yes, you can always do it. If you see, there are certain tasks which are from those automate flows as well. So these are the stuffs you guys can do. It all depends upon what you're trying to do. People running sentiment analysis on tweets, they are doing a lot of different stories altogether. So these are the different things that you guys can do it with this integration. But if you see in core level, because I didn't go through all these templates and all this stuff, but if you see in a core level, these are the only four tasks. If you go through any of these things, you will see that in the end the things that can be done is only these four. But with combination with other tasks and all this stuff, you can sky is the limit, to be honest, in a sense. That I hope I answered Rachel's questions.
Yeah, I hope that answers her query. So, these are my own questions because I was looking forward to learn Power BI, and this demo is so great that we have so much of rich capabilities available, even from an integration point of view, using Power Automate. So, I had a question like, I have seen some references of DAX language
Yeah,
over
yeah,
the internet that
yeah,
need to use that we need to learn DAX in order to do
yeah,
Power BI. So
yeah.
can you
Okay.
please brief a bit about DAX
Sure,
language?
sure. Okay, guys. So DAX is a query that is a um, I'm not sure whether you guys know about tabular models or all that stuff within Microsoft. So there is something called as tabular model. So DAX is a query language that is used to is used if you have known DAX before DAX. There's called something called as MDX. Okay, MDX was the main query language for the cubes initially, but later on, from a tabular model, from the way they have changed from a multi-dimensional model to a tabular model in SSAS, they have started converting the Power BI in the end is a storage engine, is a tabular engine, a Vertipax engine that is has a DAX as a language to query it. Okay, let me give you a sample from a DAX perspective. Let me see where I have opened a Power BI report. Give me a second, guys. Let me open one DAX thing. I'll post a link to videos where we have explained DAX from a starting perspective, how this calculation works, how this MDX expressions works, and all this stuff works. Um, where is my Power? This is my Power BI. Where is my reports? Give me a session. If I have a DAX. Okay, let me open this cohort analysis only for you guys. I opened it in the wrong way. Oh, sorry. This one would also have sales report. Okay, okay. Give me a second. Where is done? Okay, sensitivity analysis. Let me go through this DAX. Okay, so do you see this report?